What is up? Welcome back to another bonus episode of the Cousin Cecil Show, which you know what that means. It is Wednesday, so happy new comic book day. But yes, that means also we am here with another comic book creator. And this week, I am with his book's already kind of out on issue 1 through Scout Comics called Redshift. But I have the author H.S. Tak with me. How you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I was excited to come on your show.
Oh, I'm glad. By your questions before I recorded made me feel like, oh, good. He's probably having second guesses. But no, I'm glad you're on. I'm happy that you're on. No, yeah, I'm here to more interview you and talk about Redshift and your background and stuff. I really like the first issue, as I've said on Twitter and also on the other previous Cousin Cecil shows with reviews and stuff. But yeah, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. I'm still alive, so I'm happy about that.
Hey, you can't. I guess you can't beat that. Kind of sometimes.
Yeah,
But
is
yeah.
world. I don't know.
But yeah, like you're here. Obviously, you have a comic out. I guess we're at the top of it. Why don't you give the elevator pitch to Redshift, and we'll obviously break down your background and all that fun jazz after.
Yeah, cool. So Redshift is a survival space saga about a family that lives up on Mars. One brother gets chosen to go on a deep space journey to look for a new planet that could kind of extend humanity because resources are running out, and he leaves his little brother behind, who gets into the political spectrum of Mars and the government, and he basically tries to hold the planet together to give his brother time to complete this mission.
Yeah, it I'll also want to elaborate on it. It is what I like about Redshift, and I'm going to try my best. I'm not going. We're of course we're not going to like spoiler the first issue, but obviously I gotta kind of explain because it has been out. We're in that weird Scout Comics limbo, waiting for issue 2.
Yeah,
But
they stagger step it a little bit.
yeah, that's not my wallet. Of course, Scout Comics, but of course I'd love to have someone from like the co-publisher. I know he's been doing some interviews. I love to talk to him and ask him about that. But that's here nor there, because obviously that's out of my hands. I don't think it's in your hands either, about having to do that darn wait after issue 1 on new titles. You have to
Yeah,
wait a month, but or even more, but who knows?
like 2 months, 2.5 months, I think.
Yeah.
You should tweet them.
I have I might do it again. But of course I wasn't going to do it while I'm like, hey, come interact with my tweet of me interviewing your guys' authors, and we both agree something's up with these waiting. But yes, I do like to know. But again, I've heard the story like, oh, it helps them like in the long run for like knowing counts for comic issues and stuff.
Yeah.
But back to Redshift. I what I like about it is because it is a quote unquote. It's obviously we're on Mars, and it's some people call it maybe like a space odyssey because of obviously the older
Yeah.
brother's journey. But what I like about the part with Mars is just a backdrop. It's not like it's already been inhabited. Like we already have missions. There's like the ice mining field because that's one of the resources of Mars and all that stuff. And it's now just a part of life for like the two brothers. I like their room. I like seeing the Misfit poster and all that stuff. And
Yeah,
like,
that's all Brent, man. That's all Brent McKee. I didn't like he infuses it with his childhood, and it makes it so much better. He grew up with a brother. I grew up with a brother, so I think he just understood what that relationship and what that feels like, and you know what I mean. So,
yeah,
hats off to him.
yeah. It goes because it goes also with even like the topic at hand. The brother has to go on this space odyssey, and it's because his like their mother was one of the people that were nominated to do this too.
Yeah,
And what I like is, again, you are saying things that are about space and like sci-fi, but if you could, it could be reworked into just like mom's been gone, she'd like passed away or something. And
yeah,
I just love that the story can still happen. This story could happen on Earth. It's happened on Mars. It can happen
yeah.
on uh, Pluto. But that's why I like the groundedness of the storyline at the
I
moment.
think, yeah, I think, just humans are going to be humans wherever you put them in the universe.
Yeah.
They're still going to have the same emotions, and they're going to treat each other the same way. Um, Blood is going to be blood, hatred is going to be hatred, jealousy, love, all those emotions are still there. So I didn't have to do, that kind of work. It's just a regular kind of drama, a
Yeah.
family drama, family saga. So it doesn't have to be in space, but this one, of course, is set in space.
Yeah, no, and that's why also because it gets into like you also I'm assuming are you a pretty big like science like sci-fi buff yourself?
Yeah, definitely.
Because
Yeah, like that's where I just that's how I get inspired, man, by looking at other creators and watching other films and just looking at other artists.
man. No, okay. And we'll get into that real quick because also I didn't want to forget. Let's hear your background. Like how'd you get into comics? Let's hear how it go, like, your whole little process of
Um,
how you got to
yeah,
here today.
so it was a weird sort of segue into comics. Um, I went from I went to film school. I was in film production in New York. So I did that whole thing where I'd be making short films, directing stuff. I worked my way up to an AD on bigger productions like indie films and commercials and stuff. And I had a couple of screenplays that I wrote. But the problem is the screenplays would run around Hollywood, but it wouldn't, they would always hit a wall. So I was just trying to figure out what's another alternate way that I can tell a story and get it out there. Because obviously, if Redshift was a film, it's going to be 50 mil plus to make that work, right? So, um, so I was like, all right, so the film, no name writer, it's going to be difficult to push in Hollywood. I'm already getting the pushback on it. What's another path to telling this story and getting it out there? And comics was just a natural fit because I grew up reading comics. Um, I did that segue. I think that a lot of people, or that break that a lot of people do when they go to college, and like after high school and you start working, you sort of take a break from comics.
Yeah.
But I think that love has always been there, and then you always find it, back in your life. And I picked up a couple comic books. I was blown away by them, and I was like, "Damn, man, this is a good way to tell stories. I should just translate what I have into this medium." So
Yeah.
that's what started it, and it started with Boy One, which was published by IDW, I think in 2016, which is another sort of sci-fi biopunk type tale.
Yeah. No, and I definitely gonna say out of the I I wasn't 100% sure exactly how many he had published, but of course I knew about Boy One, and of course Redshift. I'm like, clearly he has a real passion to talk about like a sci-fi story in a great way, and it seems like
Yeah,
again
man,
it
I
seems
should have.
really
I
sharp.
was. I mean, I could have quit after Boy One. It didn't sell that greatly.
Oh really?
So, yeah, it wasn't. The story had some problems. I wasn't. It was the first time I was writing for the medium. The story got shrunk from 6 to 4 issues. So, like, um, it had issues, and um, I was just determined to be like, all right, let me see whatever I did wrong there. I got to fix. So I'm just trying to get better with each one.
No, yeah, that's another thing I've heard through these creative like conversations I've had. They said like some like you can only practice until you kind of have to learn as you're running, and that's
Yeah,
because I think
that's
it
for
shows.
sure. Yeah. I look at it like I watch a lot of sports. I'm a big football fan. So I'm like, you can be that first round draft pick, but until you get in the game and start playing, like you just don't know how they're gonna do. You don't know how you're gonna do. So you need to for any creators out there, you just gotta create stuff and put it out there and see what happens. And then learn from it.
Yeah, and I was going to say because I'm more interested in your background in the sense of like some of the other routes I've heard other creators is like so what I hear, like obviously Boy One's your first run. Like you didn't
Yeah.
have like you didn't do like any like Kickstarter ever or ever thought of going up that path down the road?
No, no, I never did. I basically, since I came from film, I treated it like a film. So I would raise money for it as you would a film. You find private investors,
Yeah, yeah.
or equity investment, and you just get the project. You do whatever you have to do, man. You work with people. You you lie to people. You cheat. You got to do whatever you got to do to get that thing done. So that's what I did with Boy One, and I've just taken that kind of mantra. I haven't done a Kickstarter yet, but I think it's a great way to go because, then I'm not on the hook for other people, and I don't feel as bad if the book doesn't fare well.
Yeah. No, I hope just because of because again, just reading into Redshift and obviously I'm waiting for issue 2. I I hope that obviously your Eddie Guerrero lifestyle of how to get into comics leads you into maybe like going into like a if do a Kickstarter or something down the road if like these publishers are being tough
Yeah,
to work with. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, I definitely I have all the respect for the Kickstarter books because they're taking on a different, Kickstarter in itself, from what I can tell, is its own project.
Yeah.
Um, and then on top of that, then, delivering to all those people, and then again, building off of that base. I don't know, it's awesome what they do. And I definitely will try it at some point.
Yeah. So what was how did you get into contact with IDW for Boy One? Like, how was there like a crazy story how you got to them, or how did you get to
Yeah, I
them?
mean, it's definitely, it's not a typical story because you're always told, don't you can't get attention at Comic Cons, but I think it worked in my case, just because my letter for Boy One, Janice Chang, is a industry veteran, and she knows everyone. She's worked with everyone, including Stan Lee and like the big guys. She's been around for a while, so I was running around a bunch of cons, whatever I could afford for that year, and I was in San Diego running around trying to show people my book. And it's difficult because the editors are busy, and they got stuff to do, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of, how, remember, we all kind of remember what cons were, even though it's been like a year and a half.
Yeah.
But San Diego is crazy. And so Janice, I was getting to the end of the day, I was tired. Janice was like, look, let me go, let's go see IDW real quick, because I saw her. I like met her at on one of my rounds. I saw her, and I told her what I was doing with Boy One, and she's like, let's go to IDW. Went to IDW. Chris Rael was there, who she had worked with, and Chris Rael was the CEO or COO of IDW at the time. So she's like, "Hey, Chris, you got to meet this guy, Himkar." Man, I don't know what I said to him because he was like running to a panel, and he literally was like, "I have to go, but what do you have? What do you have?" Showed it to him on my phone real quick, um, and I just must have spit some kind of BS at him, and he gave me his card just to like get me away because he
Yeah.
was like really running. He's like, "Here, take this." So, but luckily, I reached out to him, and I think because of Janice's connection to him, he took it seriously, and he read the book, and they dug it, and so we got a deal done.
No, that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, but I heard that's like not a typical way of getting people, because you're not typically. But I don't think there's any way that's typical. That worked for me, and for someone else, it's going to be different. But you gotta. I think the main thing is just don't listen to anybody. Just keep trying, however you can try, whatever way you have available to you.
Yeah. No, I've heard just um for writers, just keep writing. Obviously, be persistent, and it is that hustle in the sense of like how you said you had like a somebody knows somebody, like it's like that 6 degrees away
Yeah.
from Kevin Bacon idea, like just that
Yeah,
idea.
and you're right. Persistence, like that wasn't my first show. That's probably like the 10th show I drag myself to trying to work this book around to whoever would look at it. So at some point, like the stars align, right? But you gotta be there when it aligns for you.
Right. And then I think I've heard kind of went into the same route for Redshift also a little bit, like how you got to Scout.
Yeah, Redshift again. Boy One wasn't that super successful with IDW. Like it was there and it was gone, and I don't think anyone remembered it. So I mean, the sales were decent, but it wasn't like a bang up book, right? So
Yeah.
so so Redshift, I had started pitching. I did the same thing because it worked with Boy One, where you create one issue. And so I did that with Redshift. I was pitching it around. Everyone was, I had better contacts then because of Boy One, but still, still the same amount of rejections. Or you're sending it online and you're never hearing back. I was able to connect, link up with Aftershock, and they really liked it, and we were talking about it for months, but it ended up just not fitting with them for whatever reason. But they had a guy who's awesome, who's an awesome writer and creator himself, named Joe Pruitt, and his brother James Pruitt worked at Scout as Joe Pruitt worked at Aftershock, and he's like, dude, he gave they're twins actually, and he gave his twin brother Redshift, and he's like, look, we can't do this book, but you guys should take a look at it. Scout took a look at it. They liked it. They hit me up on Twitter, and I wasn't very active on Twitter as I am now. So it just went by. I never even looked at it. And so 6 months later, I responded because I saw it in my Twitter inbox. And I was like, what the fuck is this, man? So I reached out to the president of Scout, Brendan Deneen, who emailed me or who DM'd me on Twitter. And I was like, hey, yeah, this book is still available, man, if you guys want to take a look at it. And from there, they looked at it and they're like, yeah, and by then I'd improved it even more, and I kept working at it. So they're like, let's do this. And I was like, all right, let's do it.
No, hey, if it works, like, the success comes out of nowhere sometimes.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, which is great. I hope all of them are that easy, man.
just you gotta let them muster inside your inbox without for 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe that's the key, man. Just let them linger.
But all right, you also, like you said, you have a film background, and just more trying to keep it close to Redshift. What are, let's say, top 3 sci-fi movies that are like close to, like, inspiration for you, and then also for your college or your background? What are some of the movies, if they're different, that probably changed the whole spectrum of sci-fi for movies?
So I think I don't know. Top 3 is very, very. That's a tough ass question, man. What I can say is I can give you some films that I love that influenced Redshift, and you'll see it when I tell you, right? Like, Prometheus was one of them.
Okay.
Did you see Prometheus? I think it was the latest like Alien film. So I really dug the way they, the dark way they created that world. And I like the mythology behind it, how they're building that universe of so I just like that, just the thematics behind Prometheus. Another one I would say is Total Recall.
Okay.
The Schwarzenegger, I think it was the 90s. But it's that the way they made a sort of like a mind twisty, gritty Mars, which I tried to capture in Redshift. Just like it's like a dirty, dusty city.
Yeah.
Where resources are running low. All types of people are there, just trying to survive.
Yeah. No, for the little bit I saw that's in issue 1, I'm pretty interested in the Mars outlook, because like it sounds dumb, but I think it's just because of all right, it's like the part when Hell says, all right, Dad, I'm gonna go to work, and then he puts on his little helmet suit and he goes to work, and then he goes to the minefield. And the next you know, he's in a new suit and he just has a little face mask. I'm like, whoa, that's kind of odd to see to be on Mars in space. I'm like,
Yeah.
and then just see it goes into like that. Like I said, it's like grounded. Like it's like an old Pennsylvania town, just being some miners out in the minefield.
Yeah. So in Mars, down in the mines, those mines would be oxygenated. So you just need a mask. You won't need to have like the full gear. You know what I mean?
Is
Just need a
that
little.
is that something that is a theory, like an actual, like, I don't want to say NASA, but you know what I mean, like actual space. Yeah, if you
Yeah,
go into
I think that's how they would do it if they were doing it. Yeah, I
okay,
think so. So we can segue, and I'll get back to the movies. I spent a year of discourse with NASA JPL on Redshift. So I was able to link up with Professor, or sorry, he is a professor too, but Dr. Wesley Traub, and he is the head of exoplanet exploration, which is what Redshift is about. And so basically, we had discussed like how are people going to live up there and what it's going to be like and how does the technology going to work. So that stuff came all from there.
no,
So
that's awesome, because
yeah,
that's what I like to see. Of like, it shows a little bit of like, it's the that's the plan, like the blueprint of like even how NASA would do it. And that's what I like about it.
so the third movie I would say would be Gravity,
Okay.
Alfonso Cuarón movie with Sandra Bullock. I just like the simplicity of it, and I'm a simple storyteller. I don't try and I don't know. I don't try and trick your mind into all kinds of. I'm not like Christopher Nolan, right? I'm not going to
Yeah.
go over your head. I'm just going to tell you a straight up story. And I thought Gravity did that really well. And a very simple story about a girl trying to get back to Earth.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the third one I would say.
No, those are great choices, because obviously I'm with you about even Prometheus, which we just more take a step back and just say Ridley Scott's universe of like Alien, Prometheus, and like his sci-fi outlook for like the future has always been probably that is probably the director that has definitely has pushed forward the narrative of how sci-fi should go, of like ideas of, even with androids, the ideas of space travel, and he's obviously done all the work, so it's been pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
All right, and then also like how would I word it back into Redshift, because I am curious one thing about with the book issue 1, and then with the cover. The cover has it have like him in a suit that's like flannel style and like some overall like a
Yeah.
suspender looking.
Yeah, man. So I'll just get into real quick. I think I know where you're going at, and I think it's because so so Redshift. If we're on Mars, basically we're going to be like a colony. It's going to be
Yeah.
like when um, when we came over to the U.S. and started colonizing um, the Eastern Shore. So it's going to be a pilgrim's life out there. There's going to be, terraform fields and humans just trying to survive day by day, right? So he's coming from a chicken coop. The temperature on Mars, if you're in the plains, can get up to 60 degrees during the day, and it'll drop to minus 80 at night. So in the daytime, you can literally be in a t-shirt, and then at night you're gonna have to change real quick, or you just have to be inside.
Right.
So I just pulled the little scene of a pilgrim walking home, with the hatchet and his chicken.
No, the reason I said anything is because maybe it's because I am more stepping forward to see what happens in issue 2. But I was gonna say I didn't see this cool flannel like setup yet, because of in issue 1 it focuses on basically the getting the plot out, and then also the previous story about, like, when he was part of the academy that was trying to become the next
Yeah,
I can't remember the name of the
Voyager.
the next Voyager. that's where it was like throwing me off. I'm like, where am I going to see these cool, like the cool.
Yeah, I gotta get Brent to, yeah, we're gonna have some costume notes, man. Everyone likes the flannels. I gotta bring it back in there somewhere.
Yeah, no, shout obviously, yeah, just right now, like shout out to the artist as of course Brent um, McKee, and then obviously I don't see offhand. If you want to shout out even the letterer and also the
Yeah, the letterer is Joel Rodriguez, who does a ton of work for Scout. I think his outfit is called Metal Ninja Studios.
okay,
Um, and he's awesome, and the colorist is amazing. His name is Sebastian Chang, and he's doing Shang-Chi right now
oh sweet,
for Marvel. He was the letter I got on Boy One. I'm sorry, he was the colorist I got on Boy One. Um, and he crushed that book, and that was, I think, one of his first like solo books.
I had a feeling if there because I was looking at some pages of Boy One and then looking at Redshift, I'm like, hey, did this is this the same artist? But no, it's the same colorist because you can see it in like
Yeah,
how he chooses like skin tones and complexions. I'm like,
yeah.
hey, I've seen this before. But no, that's really cool. And then how did you pick Brent before Scout came into the picture, or did they like, hey, we got an artist for you?
Yeah, I got Brent through another artist who's amazing named Zach Howard, who did Wild Blue Yonder, and he's done a bunch of Hellboy and some DC
Yeah.
Marvel stuff. He's a really great artist, and I tried to get him, and he was busy. But he's like, you should check this guy out, and I checked out because I explained to him the book, and it's like pilgrims out in space, right?
Yeah.
Pioneers out in space. So he's like, check this guy out. Checked him out. He did some work he did a Western for Image, and then he did another Western for um he did a Western called Bowery Boys for Dark Horse.
Okay.
And he wasn't a solo artist on it, but he did a bunch of pages for one of their graphic novels. So I was looking at it and I was like, damn, man, this guy can do the West. And I'm basically telling a Western out there, right? So I talked to him about it, and I just love his work, man. He just he made like what I would say is like a Sergio Leone Western out on Mars. And that's, I don't know, I couldn't have picked a better artist for it, I don't think.
No, it's really good. And that also that goes into the sense of why I said that's why I really actually enjoy the book is because like it's Mars, but if you plopped a tumbleweed, you would look like you're back in the old West. And I do enjoy I do again. I don't even. It sounds dumb. I keep beating it over a dead horse, but I do like that groundness of how Mars is. I'm looking forward to Hell's story when he starts traveling. But yeah, it is a really cool outlook of like this idea, especially with like the civil unrest. You're saying that it's going to happen in the rest of the issues because you said there are
Yeah.
going to be six more issues, or excuse me,
It,
five more, but 6 issue set.
yeah, it's going to be cool because this, as the story starts unfolding and opens up, you're going to get different sets. So you're going to get that deep space, like, you know, sort of gravity, space odyssey, 2000 kind of look, that
Yeah.
sparse, deep space look. And then um, you're going to get the Chinatown on Mars, that gritty kind of underground feeling of what Mars is going to be like in the city. And then you're also going to have, you're already getting a taste of like the country. So you're
Well,
going to have some different sets that are coming. So you'll see it's going to open up and it'll be cool. I think it's just the way Brent and Sebastian captured the atmosphere. It's pretty awesome.
all right. And what I have a question for you right here. What was your favorite? If I don't know how far, I'm assuming you're probably done with probably the whole 6 scripts.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
What is your favorite issue to write? Which one was your favorite issue to write? And then also, I'm not sure if we're actually that far out of it because I don't know the whole how much issues are out there. But what's your favorite one to read out of your?
Issue 6.
You like just the ending?
For both of them, yeah, for both those questions. Yeah, because it was just once you got a hold of who they were, these characters, then they start writing themselves, and it just becomes a hell of a lot easier, man. And their actions just make sense. And so I would say the toughest is always probably like one or two, because you just don't know how much information. At least I don't. I'm not good enough yet to figure out how much information we should keep in there, and how to kind of roll it out. But by issue 6, you don't have to worry about that stuff, man.
Yeah.
The story's there, the characters are there, and they're all in the midst of their crises, right?
Yeah.
So it makes it issue 6 is going to be, it's just explosive, and it's going to be awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. I just hope I can keep them on the hook till issue 6.
So
Let's see.
you got me on the hook. So that counts for something. I'm gonna be on. I'm right here with you, man. And then no, it goes into also touches base with even like the conversations I've had in the some of these creative ones. Like I did one like just um we were trying to break down what is the best way to even start a comic. Is it the cold opening, or is it better to to do the full on info dump in the first couple issues? Is it better to try to give them the breadcrumb effect to get to it, even down to issue 3? You know what I'm saying? That's where everyone has a different writing process, and also the story makes you go to those processes. But I'm more happy to hear that it is definitely a thing that is not affecting, but the thoughts in all their creators' minds of like how to approach a book, especially because you said you're kind of early in your comic career. You know what I'm saying? To hear like you're still breaking down like, all right, do I want to start off like this way, or should I go in this way? Then once you get on the ball, it's actually pretty smooth like a bicycle.
Yeah, man, I don't have the answers, like it's
Yeah.
just everyone has to have their own process, and I don't know what's right or wrong. I just you got to get a feel for your story. And the one thing I say is you just have to follow your gut and your instinct, I guess. And it's hard to do sometimes, but you gotta try. And then hopefully the story figures itself out.
No, yeah, and then I guess also just how about we can get you what's the future for HS Tak? What's your
So I did a 180, man. I have two historical fiction books coming out next year. And yeah, the deals aren't done, but they're both going to get published by pretty big, publisher, like
yeah.
well-known publishers. So it'll be cool to see that process come out, because they'll be way different than Redshift and Boy One. So it's going to be exciting, and I don't know. I'm just I just don't want to I don't want to get pinned down. I just want to tell good stories.
I thought you were going to go into I just don't want to get too excited. I can tell you look very chill and calm, collected, just trying to keep the composure, because that's sweet, man. You got two more already crossing I's, dotting T's, and all that stuff. That's awesome to hear, man.
Yeah.
And then, is there a way? Are you allowed to even say even like
Yeah,
what?
so one of them is called Crashland. I can tell you a little bit about them. One of them is called Crashland, and it's with my boy one artist,
Okay.
Amanke Nawalpan. And he's an amazing artist. He won the DC Town Award in 2018, and he's now doing Crush and Lobo for DC.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so and he did some Batman stuff and Wonder Woman. He did the Justice League Dark, a little run on Justice League Dark a bit ago. So DC's got their teeth in him, but I was able to get him for Crashland. Luckily, Crashland is a story about a 10-year-old girl who grows up in Afghanistan, in like a border town in the Northwest frontier provinces during World War II, and she works at a brothel.
Wow.
And one day she finds a crashed British Royal Air Force fighter pilot in the mountains. All the warlords have found the plane crash, but they haven't found the pilot. She somehow finds him, And she's like, if I can get this guy back to the Khyber Pass, which is a British stronghold on the border of India, who the British controlled at the time, then the British might give me a better life.
That I'm already that sounds very, very interesting, just because like the idea that even how you just describe a 10-year-old's already trying to hustle her way out to a better life. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
she's a street kid. She was actually the easiest character I've probably ever written, just because um well, the easiest and the most complex, because their psyche is sort of damaged, but she's a hustler from day one. She has to be. She doesn't have any parents, and she's living in a brothel. Like, you could imagine her life in
Yeah,
2-3 years. Yeah, and she knows that, so she's going to do whatever she has to do to get herself out of that situation.
are you happy to maybe get this book, I guess, set down so that you're not getting into like that, how you say you want to just do good stories, but you don't want to get also, you don't want to get stuck in a certain genre. You want to be able to say, I can, spread my wings to all their different things. So
Yeah, well, I don't know if I can. Let's see how the book does.
oh.
But like, it'll do what it does. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about telling a story about this little girl. So I'm just focused right now on that. And that book is basically almost done. And so that it'll be exciting, man. Once we get to talk about it, I'll come back on and we'll discuss that one.
Oh, awesome. No, and how long did this one marinate in your Twitter inbox before you got that deal?
This one, luckily, Redshift is doing pretty good right now, so I didn't have to wait too long for it.
Oh, good. I'm excited. I'm happy for you, man, because it's how I word it. I'm just glad. That's the one thing about Scout or even any of these indie comics. I'm really happy to start catching on to some of these young, like these newer creators, and get all these indie comics, because I can definitely say, capes are the entry door, but the things that get people into and stick to comics are these indies. And
yeah, man,
different stories are not. And I think, I think you're doing I'm just a guy, as you see, I got a fucking little blue sheet behind me. I think you're doing a great job, just off the hand.
Man, I'm just a guy too, just like you. I just love comics just like you do.
What was your favorite comic growing up?
Growing up, I think my favorite comic all time. Favorite comic growing up is Calvin and Hobbes. I don't know if you read those.
Oh, really?
They're just like kind of funny books.
Yeah.
And just about life and growing up, and those carried me through high school, man. So I would have to say that, but I think favorite type of adventure or action comic would be Y the Last Man.
Ooh, okay,
that got me back into that, sort of pulled me back into comics, and was like, look, there's a different way to tell stories, and an amazing way that you can reach people. And I think it's better than let's see what the show's like. I'm excited to see that, man.
Yeah, I heard about that. That just got some actors announced. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I think it's done shooting. So that's what I heard, or maybe they shot a pilot and didn't work and they had to reshoot it. I'm not sure, but yeah, that sort of opened my mind to comics and got me back into it. So I would have to say that.
And then also, I guess we'll leave on this idea, because I've heard a lot of answers one way. I've also heard the answers they don't even want to touch them. But like, let's say any or the big two gave you the keys to a character, and you can do your one arc of a character. So it could be 7 issues. It could be, it can be even we'll go up to 12 issues. But you get a full arc of one character from like the big two of DC or Marvel. Which one would you pick if you had the choice?
Oh man, that's see, I thought I was prepared for all these questions, man, after all these podcasts, but that's a damn good one. I think I
don't know if you had any secret heroes that you don't think they're being used, that has a good story out there that you could make. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know.
Yeah, see, they already did WandaVision. They're starting to get to all these guys, they're starting to get to all these characters. I don't know, one guy, I guess I would just probably the guy growing up that I used to watch a lot, and it's going to be the safe, easy answer, is Wolverine. But I'm only saying that because I can't, it'll take me like an hour to think about this question. So what I would, so next time we come on, ask it to me again, and I'll change my answer.
Okay. I will also give you a hint. DC is shitting themselves because they don't know how to handle their movie titles. So you have plenty of heroes on that side. If you wanted to, it's like, yeah, I can make a great 12 arc comic to help with like Blue Beetle, or you can help like the, the Spectre to get like an actual grounded thing to actually push a movie out or something,
Yeah, I agree. I think DC needs to, they're not where Marvel is right now, but I think, I don't know. Every company goes through their ups and downs, and hopefully they'll change and get a little bit stronger with their storytelling, I guess.
Yeah, I've been having also, because I'm a big DC fan.
Yeah.
Just more, I'm not know how I feel about this Infinite Frontier. I'm glad to hear like even like how your friend has got work with Crush and Lobo, but like the idea of I'm one of those, maybe I just like that continuity of like, this is the one universe we have to worry about now. It like, especially how they're handling it. Of course, I don't want to bash them like that, but like when they have, I think like 8 different Bat family books, and then you have only anthologies going on for Superman and Wonder Woman. There is a Wonder Woman like 777 they're on, and also a Superman who is getting canned to go to John. But I digress. But the idea of like, you're running the Bat families into the ground. You're going to get them tired when they're trying to revamp the universe. But that's here nor there. That's a whole nother conversation with me.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to hope that the editors they're smart, and they know storytelling. So you got to trust, I think, that they have the long-term game plan in place. And so I guess it's like a wait and see, like let's give them time to get that story out there, and then see how it evolves. That's probably the only thing I could say about that.
Yeah, no, of course. But yeah, I just want to say, hey, thank you for coming on. Redshift is out. Issue 2 comes out August. What day in August?
I think it's August 26th.
August 26th.
Yeah. Oh, no, it might be August 18th. One of those. It's Wednesday, or one of those Wednesdays, man. One of those like
Always a
one of those second or third Wednesdays in August.
But yes, if anybody listens, of course, I'm obviously they're going to have links to the actual scout.coms to go pick up Redshift through them, or you can always go to your local comic book shop. But yes, again, just more congrats to you, the team, which is Brent McKee, and then of course the letter and the colorist is
letterer is Joel Rodriguez, and the colorist is Sebastian Chang.
And of course, you are. Thank you, H.S. Tak, to coming on, and of course, tell the people where they can find you.
They can find me on Instagram mainly, and then also on Twitter. And it's the same handle. It's HS Tronic, HSTRONIC.
What's the Tronic? Is that your last? Is that?
I don't know. It's nothing. It's just the way I'm a Tron fan, so.
Oh, there you go. No,
I had to put it in there. Yeah.
But yes, like I say every week, you can always follow me at Mike Fowler 93. Like we say every week again, you guys be good to each other, and I'll catch you next week. Peace.